Let's start the show. It's Ryan knows. So kick back, relax, and let him guide your soul around the windy roads of life to take you high and low. Trials and tribulations and acquaintance you should get to know. So maybe let him in to get a better sense and open up your heart and your mind to find a better friend who's experienced a lot in life and isn't perfect. As he looks for purpose, a deeper meaning as we dreaming in between the circus and beneath the surface.
Hi, I'm Brian.
I'm Jack.
And I knew Jack. I didn't say you could talk. I knew Jack. Wow. Is this how this podcast is going to be?
It's going to be a great time.
Okay. Well, I mean that's what you think about it. I mean, I'm debating. You know, I don't even think I got out my name till you were saying, "I'm Jack. Hi everybody. I'm Jack." It was like blew up the levels. Anyway, welcome to Brian Knows Jack. I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad I'm here. I've talked about it a couple of times already, but I see something new every time I look around.
The key is, the one thing I ask people is if they can find the shrunken head.
Ooh.
There's a shrunken head in here.
Well, I hope y'all weren't expecting to get to know me, because I'm going to spend the next
Dude,
20 to 30 minutes.
Don't worry about it. I am excited you're here, especially on this nice warm January day.
Great.
So
Hey, I think I can't tell if I'm getting warmer.
You have two heaters on you, just so
I?
you know. Yeah, you got one on your rump and then one by your head.
Oh, look at that.
It's a little tiny one. So anyway, before we talk about what you geek out about, like your nerdum, what makes you special, we're going to eat. Okay. So this right here is chili. That's what it is. Shannon made chili.
It's fitting for the day.
For the nice warm weather, right? So and these are store-bought cornbread muffins. Okay. These are from Nicola's Bakery. These are the buttermilk ones. They have jalapeno ones too. So sometimes, now I know I put too much in the bowl. Sometimes I'll put this in the middle of it so I can get it with it. So so now what I like to do, and this is going to be fun, I don't know, are you a fork or spoon person when it comes
use the spoon for chili. I feel like if you use your fork,
so
you're just denying yourself.
This to me is a cereal size
it's a good size
one.
Spoon.
That's what you use for cereal. So Shannon and Gavin seem to think that when I want cereal, it's the real big spoon, almost like a ladle.
I go for the biggest spoon no matter
really?
what. No matter what I'm eating.
No matter
what I'm eating.
Okay, well, all right, so we're going to try to cheers this, okay?
Okay.
So it might be a little messy, I'm not sure. And what I want you to do on your first bite, I want you to be all up in that microphone. Let's cheers this. Here, we'll cheers over yours. Oh, dude, you spilled. All right, so I'll let you get the first bite, get all into that microphone so they can hear you. Some of those lips. Okay. All right, here we go. Now, I'll eat with my mouth open. So there's a little spice. Shannon put a little bit of the ghost pepper, you know. And she said before we have any fun, and we'll do it while we're talking because I want to make it a little more challenging. Do you ever watch Hot Ones?
Yes.
Okay. I love that. I love the idea of asking questions and trying to answer them while your body is doing this crazy thing.
They're just fighting for their lives.
Right. So this isn't us copying. This is in honor of Hot Ones. So not yet. Now we're just getting.
No, not. This is your chili time. This is
right. So we'll talk about food and stuff after. But the thing. Well, let's talk about how long we've known each other. We haven't known each other very long, right?
Maybe 4 months.
Yeah. So we know each other because you lead worship at our church, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I got to know you. And then we started talking about like old punk music, old local music, and realizing we know a lot of people, same people like Kenny. What's up, Kenny? We know you're there. Old Kenny. Amazing drummer.
Kenny is the reason we stock one very particular set of drumsticks at the store.
Really?
I've been there working there.
Only Vic Firth.
Vic Firth SD1s.
Really?
And this September I've been there 10 years.
Wow.
And as far as I know, he's the only one that's been buying them over the last 10 years.
Okay. I get it. Okay. So we haven't known each other long, but we've had really good discussion about music.
Yeah.
And some amazing food. I don't know which one's a little more important, but I mean, I love music. You're a musician.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about that. That is that one thing that you really geek out about.
Oh yeah, it's just what everyone knows me to be.
Uh-huh.
They know that they can come to me and talk gear. We can talk bands. We can talk new releases. We can talk anything, because it's really just all I focus on.
But that's nice. It's nice that when you have a specialty. Okay, so let's say if you did what I used to do, right? So I used to be a magician. I couldn't talk to everybody about that. Musicians can talk more to the average person.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about a certain slight to you, and you'll be like, "Yeah, Brian, that's great,
cool. Yeah.
Right." Or if I talk about puppets, I mean, I'm sure you kind of took that in the fact, wow, Brian's into puppets, right?
He's got a few.
Right. So you're a musician, right?
Yeah.
What got you into music? Was it a person?
So, geez. It probably goes back to like my dad's a pastor, and my earliest memories of music is me like playing whatever instruments were at the church or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember I had some plastic guitar, and it actually predates that. I have pictures of me like holding this like plastic toy guitar and singing into this plastic microphone.
Mm-hmm. Is it one of those microphones that echoed?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And the guitar, it was like a pre-Guitar Hero guitar. Like it had buttons on it. And my dad was like, yeah, odds are you're either singing Skies of Grey from Grateful Dead or Black Hole Sun.
Okay.
And I was like 4 years old.
Wow.
Like it was, do I know how to sing and play either of the songs today? No, but in my defense, I really didn't know how to do them then either.
Okay.
And then from there, I just started getting into more and more things. We had a guy rented a room from us, and he had a drum kit. Whenever he would leave and go to work, I'd go into his room and play his drums.
Did he know you were doing that?
He eventually caught me.
Okay.
My parents didn't stop me from doing it either. So
Well, it might be on them.
So then we started going to a church. We moved around a while because as my dad took jobs at different churches, we'd move around.
Were you in this area?
We were in Maryland.
Okay.
Like I was born in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
We, for the most part, spent most of our lives in Maryland. We ended up going to a church in Waldorf. They've since closed, but it was the Vineyard Church back on like Old Washington Road.
Yeah. I used to live on Old Washington Road.
Okay.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I would just run up there after service on Sundays and play the drums. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't ask anyone.
You just play.
I was like 5, 6 years old.
Was your dad the pastor there?
He was like in training. Like he was.
Okay, well, so that's probably why nobody said anything.
So, but it got to. I wasn't like the pastor's kid that could get away with anything. I was like,
Okay.
oh, there's Tim's son. You know.
Okay.
I just ran up there. I just started drumming, and then the drummer of the church gave me like one drum lesson. I did like a really terrible drum fill. He goes, "Oh, you don't need any lessons." And like I look back at it now, I was like, maybe he just didn't want to teach.
Right.
And it's just
So you had a fake guitar. So drums were the first thing that you
drums
started
were the
playing.
first thing I ever like played.
Okay.
And it was purely because someone was in our house and they had them.
I get that. Okay.
And that's just kind of where everything snowballed from there. Just kind of.
All right. So you started playing. When did you get into guitar?
Really, see, like I've always liked guitar. I think I bought my first guitar. I was in high school. I was working at Chick-fil-A.
Which Chick-fil-A were you
in
at?
La Plata. So they like just opened up.
Okay.
And
is that Ken Winkle?
no, this is John Flatley.
John Flatley. Yes, I know John is. Okay, yeah.
Shout out to John Flatley,
Yes,
who was
okay.
also my 4th grade upward basketball coach.
Right.
One time in front of my mother compared me to Dennis Rodman
Why?
because I was a really good defensive basketball player.
Okay, well that's the good reason.
That's and he very adamant. He was like, because of how he plays defense. Like he made sure that my mom knew I wasn't like running around in wedding dresses.
Because of his tattoo on his belly button.
Yeah. And so I remember I took like my first full paycheck, went down to Island Music Company.
Okay.
Shout out Island Music Company. And I bought this gorgeous Takamine acoustic that was hanging up behind the counter. And I just flat out was like, here's my whole paycheck.
And had you touched a guitar before then?
I've touched them. I'd played them. My friends had them.
Okay.
but I never really owned one long enough to learn how to play it. Mm-hmm. So it was like I was always defaulted to the drummer. One time my friend needed a bassist, so I just started playing bass in his band.
You just learned it?
He just gave me his bass. I went home, learned a bunch of like Blink-182, MXPX, and like a bunch of stuff like that.
Wow.
And then just kind of rolled with that. From there.
I mean, so you were that, or are that musician that friends want to have that play in bands? Like, well, he doesn't play a harmonica, but let's give him 13 minutes.
He'll get one and figure it out.
Right, right. That's great. Okay. So you got this guitar. Did you start playing guitar more than you were drums? I mean, because it's a lot different where you can just pick up and just play a guitar and come up with something, right? Or mimic something. Whereas drums, it's like you have to have something that you're listening to play with. Unless, like, I guess, unless you're a jazz drummer. I mean, that's a little different.
Yeah, jazz is its very own thing.
Right. So were you playing more guitar than, like, after you got this guitar? No.
No, I really wanted to, but it took a while for me to really grasp it.
Okay.
I was traveling with this like music ministry youth program kind of thing based out of Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And I was put in situations where I had to play a lot of guitar.
Okay.
So I've been playing a little bit here and there. And then I went there and it was like, oh, I really have to play guitar now.
Okay.
And so then played a way more guitar out there than I had done anywhere else. Came home.
How old were you around this time?
Like 20 to 22.
Okay.
Because I was.
So this wasn't. You weren't super young.
No.
Okay.
I was there. I graduated high school, worked for a year, and then I toured for 2 years.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty neat.
Were you playing with any bands before that?
A lot of like small. Like
no, I mean they count.
So I was in a band in high school called A Close Second. We started as Hi-Fi Havoc, became A Close Second. I was a drummer in that, and that was just all like Blink-182 is at like.
So was this like you were playing like My Brother's Place?
So no, this is when I was in high school in Pennsylvania for a little bit. So this was up that way.
Okay, all right.
So we're playing a lot of places up like Eastern Ohio, north of Pittsburgh, stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
It was a cool little thing up there. We played this one place in Ohio. They were in Youngstown, Ohio, or Boardman, Ohio. They're called The Cell. And they swore up and down that the Beatles had played at their club at one point. And I was like, the Beatles' first appearance in the United States
was a
stadium.
Well, they had to get some practice.
I don't think they played.
The acoustics in America were different.
I don't think they played The Cell in Boardman, Ohio.
Well, you never knew. You never know. You never know.
You never know.
Right.
I played a few shows at my brother's place.
So my brother's place was a coffee shop. It started out in late 90s.
Yeah.
It was a coffee shop, and they'd have different bands that would come in on Friday and Saturday nights. Friday night was meant more for teenagers, and Saturday was more for adults, more contemporary type music. The owner had passed away. This guy Carl was a great guy. He ended up passing away, and it went to different ownership, and went to a totally different crowd. But the cool thing is that's where like Waldorf music was I thought was pretty amazing. Like the metal scene that was coming out of there and the hardcore scene that was coming out. Bands like Death Among Heroes, Count Your Blessings, Threefold Trust. There was a bunch of different stuff, but I got to work with a lot of those bands, and I loved it. Yeah. I did merch for them, and I loved that area, not just as a ministry that it was, but also as a place to hear young people finding themselves as musicians.
Oh yeah,
you know. So
fun. Like so, Fridays and Saturdays were like the bands for a small window of time. I don't know the exact length of it. On Sundays, the church I went to would host a little Sunday night thing there every so often.
I didn't know that.
And they would call it Sunday Night Live. Okay. And my dad was like the host of it. Okay. And so my dad would get up there, and there was a band that would play, but it was like a community.
It was like a show.
It was like a community Sunday night church kind of thing. And
that's cool.
So I've heard people tell, like, yeah, on Sundays I used to do this thing. I was like, yeah, that was my dad. And they're like, oh, yeah, it was pretty bad. I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. Like,
They don't mind telling you now. As long as they're older, it's fine.
Yeah.
So you started playing. You're in your 20s after you've been on this tour doing this, right? You get back. What turned you into the musician that you are now?
So I come back and I struggle right away with trying to find like how to fit back in because I left for almost 3 years.
Yeah, I mean that's a different life,
especially in your early 20s. Like your friends all move on, they get serious relationships, married, all this yada yada, and some of them stick with music, some of them don't. You come back, you're just trying to find your footing, get back into life. Because I spent the last 2.5 years living out of a 16-passenger van traveling the country.
Wow.
So when you come back home, you're like, oh, how do I people? Like, this is... and I think, like, up until recent years, it has, like, messed with my communication ability and everything. Or it had messed with it, because I spent 2.5 years talking to the same people all day, every day. The real world's not like that. Yeah. Like, you don't do that. So so I came home, and I'm, like, making new friends, and I would just, like, friend them to death, because in my experience, all I knew how was to talk to everybody all the time.
Yeah, but you were with the same people.
Yeah,
and that's a big reality check.
Yeah, it took a handful of years for me to like get over that hump and realize, like, oh, this isn't a normal thing. Like, you don't talk to the same people all day, every day. Like, that's just not how people function. So my childhood best friend, he and I stayed really close, and he had been jamming with some folks, so I started playing with them. Of course.
Was this here, or were you in Pittsburgh?
This was here. So I moved back here. It was like 2014. I started playing drums. Where I started, it was I played bass, then drums, then went back to bass. Because I needed a bass player, and then we needed a drummer.
I mean, that's a weird jump. I mean, like, I get how drummers and bass players need to be in sync, but playing the different instruments.
So it was a lot of back and forth, but at the time, those were the two primary things I played.
Okay.
So it was easy for me to move back and forth. My best friend Josh, he and I were in this band together. We were in a band together in high school called Slim Fit Tea. And it was fun, It
also known as Smedium. No.
Smedium, yeah. Never made it out of his, like, parents' garage. But we had a ton of fun writing pop punk music.
I get it.
I was playing bass and I was the lead vocalist. And so he and I just always kind of clicked and done things together. So I started playing in this band with him. It was called Flying Jacob. And we rehearsed for like a solid year. And then we started playing in the area, and we were doing shows with bands like With Flying Eyes and Squid Ink and just a handful of these other guys that were doing stuff. And we start playing around, doing different things, and it was a lot of fun. We took off all kinds of craziness, and I ended up being the bass player for that full time. And we brought in a friend of mine to play drums, and crazy full circle moment. Like, we circle all the way back around. The drummer and I become really good friends, and he's now plugged in playing drums at New Life. And so I introduced him to everybody there and got him set up there. And now, full circle, I'm playing guitar and singing in my own band, and he's my drummer. And
that's super cool.
This cool, like,
that's super cool.
Almost 10 years later.
All right, so let's go to your singing, right?
Yeah.
Because not every musician sings, right?
Very true.
What were you singing before that? Were you always a singer?
I'd say so, yeah.
Okay.
Partially just because, like, a lot of people know, like, growing up in church, there's a lot of singing. And so,
but that doesn't mean that you're good at it. I mean,
but it definitely, like, I think for as much church as I had to go to growing up as a pastor's kid, I was just, like, infatuated with it, and I just fell into it. I remember drumming in church as, like, a teenager and wanting to be up there singing with everybody. Sang in the car, sang at home.
Did you ever think, as a young age, like, or being that young age, did you ever see yourself as a possible performer? Like, did you think that was, I mean, because not everybody pictures themselves, just so you know, up there doing that.
I've always thought it was something I'd do.
Okay.
Not like superstar, rock star status, but just something to let loose and have fun. Like, it's, I forget how old I was when it came out, but there's a DVD of like Paul McCartney doing this tour in like 2004.
Okay.
And I just became infatuated with his drummer. It's, Abe Laboriel Jr. And he was just this monster of a beast back there. And I looked it up, and he's got huge drums. So in theory, I now have huge drums. I have huge cymbals because of him. And I've had people come up to me and like, your drumming reminds me so much of. I was like, yeah, because
you were inspired.
This guy, like, watched him play, and he's a fun, outgoing guy, and so like I kind of picked up a little bit of that, and so like I'm like goofing around with people all the time, and if you don't know,
I thought you were serious all the time.
Pretty serious guy. Actually, I'm pretty sure this past Sunday, I'm pretty sure I heard you tell someone, Jack gets easily distracted. We need to leave him alone so he can get set up or something.
I did not say that.
Someone in the back table while I was setting up.
No, maybe that was me actually. That was me.
Someone was like, "We got to leave him alone." Or else
that's because I was showing Ben some stuff, and that actually was me.
And I'm up front, and I'm like, "Oh."
Or did Adam say that? I don't know. I think it was me.
Someone called me out on it, but I know how I am. I know I can talk forever.
Dude, I'm the same way.
I know I'm easily distracted.
I get it.
I forget things because I guess like people at my job all the time are like, Jack, did you do that thing? It's like, oh, let me. It's not because I'm.
Well, because last Sunday we were thrown off because the three of us were talking and we hadn't even done sound check yet.
I hadn't
or
even
anything.
Plugged in.
Right.
Like it was.
So I get that, and we'll see if tomorrow's like that. No, I get that. So you sing, you play drums, you play guitar, you play bass. Mm-hmm. Is there any other instrument that you play?
Not well enough to like play with others, but I can pick up most stringed instruments at this point and kind of like learn a few chords real quick enough to like demo something or like show something. Because at the shop I can like get to a point where I can like show them to a customer or something.
Okay. And we'll talk about the shop in a second.
Yeah.
So right now, your main thing is you're going out and you're playing these gigs, right? Mm-hmm. And this is you and a guitar. Do you have somebody else that goes with you? Like, do you have a drummer? Do you have is this you acoustic?
Most of them are me acoustic.
Okay,
but that'll change here soon. I started doing these solo acoustic shows probably 3 years ago now. Mm-hmm. Going on 3 years.
Okay,
and I was drumming for a cover band for a while, and we just played our last show in December. And so now, my band where I'm singing and playing guitar starts playing in March. But it's just me doing a ton of acoustic shows by myself.
Now, when you're doing these acoustic shows, is this mainly covers? Is this your own stuff? Is there a mixture?
I'd say it's like 90% covers. And then I've been mixing in some of my original stuff because I'd like that to like I said, I don't want stardom. I don't want crazy busy lifestyle, but I want something.
Do you like the mix that you have now?
I do.
Okay.
I like that I can do all this and it still feels like a nice outlet, but I can still be close to home and I don't have to like, I toured for 2.5 years straight, but I would totally do it again if the opportunity arose. Mm-hmm. But I want to do it doing my music. Right. Or the music I write with the band, something like that.
Okay. All right. What type of places are you playing at now?
It's a healthy mix of dive bar to brewery to winery. Like it's,
so you get to try some good foods, possibly based on the time that you have after.
It depends on how much time I'm there. Okay. Because I learned pretty quick while doing the touring thing that you can't eat a lot and then go sing for a few hours. Because like,
I feel like that's a lot of entertainers, though, regardless of what field you're in.
Yeah, you kind of get thrown into that because you're either on your way from work or you're on your way to somewhere, and a lot of stuff is in the evening. Okay. Pardon me. So you don't have a lot of options. But I learned quick because when you're in the Midwest and you're singing at such and such Lutheran church at 6 p.m. on a Sunday, those Midwesterners love a potluck. They love a potluck, and they love showing off their nicest.
Are they
hot
doing
dish.
that afterwards or before?
Before.
Oh.
And so you're a van of young 20-year-olds rolling up to this church in the middle of Illinois, or Missouri, or Wisconsin, and Iowa, and they're just like, well, y'all need to have some of this potluck before your performance.
Yeah, I mean, it would be rude if you didn't.
But it'd be like, okay, show time's at 6, potluck's at 5:30, and you're like, what? And next thing you know, you walk in there and it's just, now we call them casseroles regionally, but out there they call it hot dish.
Okay.
So you roll out there and there's just all these casserole trays, like the green bean casserole, tater tot casserole, tater tot hot dish.
I mean, to me, it's
four
a casserole,
different kinds
but I
of
get that.
scalloped potatoes,
Okay.
like a million things, and you're just supposed to like work your way through it and then go play for 2 hours.
Yeah, that's not cool.
And so we would make little plates, and they'd be like, "Aren't you guys hungry?" We're like, "We look."
But see, that's why you save them for later.
And so
but-
we started making
Okay.
we started being like, "Look, here's my plate for now."
Mhm.
And then I'll go back. I'll make a plate to eat
Okay.
later. And some churches were cool with it. Some of the old church ladies got a little offended.
Well,
And it's like,
but they don't understand what that's like.
Yeah.
I remember one time, and we're going to end it about the gigs with this story. One time I had this school gig, and I was performing. It was a couple hundred people. It was a school carnival. I had to do a show on stage, and then I was doing balloons afterwards. I decided with my friends that a couple hours before we were going to do a Big Mac challenge, and it was how many Big Macs we could eat. I ate 5 Big Macs right before I performed. That was the worst thing in my life. At that time, I get that. And when I used to perform, I learned you didn't. And that's what sucked when you would have gigs back to back, because you had to eat sometime, and that gig that you ate before, that was you felt horrible.
oh yeah.
Anyway, okay, quick music question, and then we're going to get into some funness and talk about Island. Favorite genre of music to play?
I've in the last so many years have just full boat embraced country music.
Okay.
Old
Old country, like
just-
Merle
just
Haggard, or like
across,
it doesn't
across
matter.
the
Okay,
whole broad spectrum.
so it
of
doesn't matter if it's
It's-
Merle Haggard or Sam Hunt.
Well, I'm not. Maybe not Sam Hunt.
Okay,
But-
well,
and I don't have to worry about him. He'll probably find it at some point. It's okay.
that's fine. It is.
It's I feel like growing up, country music in my family and my close quarters of my friends was always super frowned upon, and everyone was just like, "That's garbage music. You can't." But then like, I don't know. I just kind of like started discovering it more and more on my own,
Okay.
and just kind of really took off with it, and it's just become.
So that's one of your favorite to play.
To play, to listen to.
Okay, so
to-
that answers the second question.
It just
Okay.
kind of like ended up encompassing everything.
Who is your favorite artist to listen to right now?
Right now? See, I like that you specify right now
Because it all depends. It could be
people-
different in a week.
People all the time are like, "Who's your favorite?" And you're just like, "Well, depends."
Mm-hmm.
Right now, there's this guy who's kind of blowing up within like the certain like genre. They call it sad boy country music or like sad country or whatever.
Okay.
And it's just like it's all really depressing.
Well.
But when has country music really not been depressing?
Right.
You know,
I mean,
like,
listen to the words.
there's this guy named Dylan Gossett.
I got no idea who that is.
See, no one ever really
Okay.
does.
That's all right.
But he's got a handful of songs, and they're all amazing. A couple of them have like several million streams on Spotify,
Okay.
and I've really just started listening to his stuff a lot and using that stuff. And there's a lot of things that, like in his like vein and subgenre of country that's just all so good. There's so I'm terrible at remembering names with a lot of the stuff because it just comes on shuffle. It
I'm
just
the
comes
same
on
way.
shuffle all the time.
Yeah.
But I've just been listening to a ton of that stuff. It's very stripped down. It's just like usually for the most part it's just the guy singing, playing his acoustic,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all very melodic and the words are really good. It's not like a mass produced cut and paste kind of thing. Like these guys are using a lot of like I'm falling. I can't.
Auto tune?
No, that's the thing. Is like there's none of that.
It's nice.
But like lyrically, they're using all kinds of like metaphors
Okay.
and all kinds of different ways of tying things together that you're not hearing on a lot of your larger
Okay.
productions and stuff.
Okay.
So,
Last music question. When you need inspiration, who is your one band or artist that you turn to that you know will always inspire you? Besides Dashboard Confessional.
besides Dashboard, I am a huge Under Oath fan. Like
Yes.
to a point to where like
Which album? Do you have one album?
the only one I don't listen to is Disambiguation
Okay.
because that's the one where Aaron was not in the band.
I get it. Okay.
And like to a point where I don't think they even played the songs live. Like
Okay.
it was,
Under Oath.
yeah, Under Oath. That's
I get it.
they just went on they just did their 20th anniversary of their Only Chasing Safety tour,
Okay.
and I like drove 3 hours to Norfolk, Virginia to be at the first date of the tour.
Wow.
So much, the inspiration so much though is I have a song out on Spotify, Worlds, and that song was produced and mixed by Aaron Gillespie,
Okay.
the drummer of Underoath.
That's awesome.
And so
That's
like,
really cool.
yeah, so
that had to be some good talking.
It was fine. Like he's in my phone. Like I have Aaron's phone number.
Do you want to FaceTime him now? While you're recording?
I know he might not produce any more of my music.
Okay, well, we don't want that to happen. That's awesome.
But every so often, like during the process, we'll just exchange a few things here and there, and it's
That's
just,
cool.
It just like blows my mind that he like pops up in my phone.
That's really cool.
And he was like someone I've like idolized since I was like
I love it.
15.
I love it. All right. Before we get into this next part and talk about island music, will you play us a song?
Yeah. Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll push everything out and here we go.
Cool.
Summertime has come and gone. Colder weather's round the bend. Never been quite sure where I'm headed. You can bet I'll be happy in the end. This one-track train keeps rolling. I'm the only one on board. This town just ain't big enough for me, myself, and I. So I'll keep on moving down this fall-covered road. Like a bird, I'll fly north to you, north to home. I'll travel worlds to find you, ease my soul, put me to rest. I've rolled through this town before, tried to find my way on the road. I always seem to find my way back to you, hoping you'll be there when I got home. Like a bird, I'll fly north to you, north to home. I'll travel worlds to find you, ease my soul, put me to rest. Endless maps in a compass can't find you. Endless maps in a compass can't find you. Endless maps in a compass can't find you. But I can't out trying to find you. But I can't out trying to find you. But I can't out trying to find you. Like the bird, I'll fly north, north to you, north to home. I'll travel worlds to find
That was great.
Thank you. It's
It's good.
it's fun. It's like I play it at all my shows.
Okay.
But
What's that song called?
Worlds.
That's what you were talking about
Yeah.
before.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
So that's the one that's on Spotify, Amazon, Apple. There's
Okay,
so many
we're going to talk
streaming
about that at the end.
services.
You'll be able to plug yourself at the end. Don't worry. Wow.
And so
You cut me off in the beginning. Now you're just trying to sell stuff. I mean, that's it.
it's that song's always going to be really cool to me, just stripped down acoustic, because you listen to the version and you're just like, oh,
It's
that's
beautiful. I loved it. I loved it. Yeah.
It's fun, like being able to take that song to a band and just go from I wrote this at a cabin in northern Minnesota, and now I have a band that I can play the song with.
Do you have a recording of you and a band playing that?
Not yet. So right now they're recording online, like the one that streams online. That's the production side that Aaron made.
Okay.
So that has a full band
Okay.
in the recording.
All right. Okay.
But I haven't like played it live with my band yet.
All right.
So I'm
Okay. I
excited
got
for
it.
that.
See, it's going to be different, and I'm glad that I got to hear it acoustic because I feel like you can appreciate it more, So that's awesome.
Right.
Okay, so now it's time to punish you.
Uh-oh.
Right. So I figured, like we talked about in the beginning, we're having chili, so we got to add some heat to it. So we're going to use this first one. This one is a ghost pepper sauce. And you said when you saw it, you thought you've had it before,
It looks
right?
like something I've seen before. Anyone who's in like the Southern Maryland area, if you go to the Slice House in Leonardtown,
Yeah.
there's like this shelf by the bar just full of hot sauces.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that one.
This is good. So I'm putting this, I don't know if you can see it from the camera, but so I'm just putting a couple drops. There's like 2.5 on the spoon. Because I don't want to change the taste of Shannon's chili. A little piece dropped off there.
Also, I have a full confession to make.
What?
Earlier this week, when you were like, hey, do you like spicy?
Yeah.
I want to do a challenge. I'm not a huge spicy guy, but I thought it would be fun.
Dude.
I thought it would be a lot of fun. Because now I have to finish the episode. It's like,
Well, it's good you sang already. But you got to talk about your job in a second. So,
well, thankfully today was a good day at work.
well, that's good. Because this next sauce. All right, you ready? Here we
We'll
go.
do it.
So that has nice heat. And typically, I don't like ghost pepper. I like habanero. Did it get to you? Is it sitting? So mine's sitting like in the back.
It's on my tongue more than anything.
Really? Like you're so screwed with this next part then.
Whoa. That's
Right.
actually...
Well, we
okay.
have more cornbread, just so
I
you
will
know.
say, there is more cornbread.
And
I
there's
will
some
say...
zeros back there.
I will say this. I was expecting worse. So I'm doing okay.
It's a nice sauce. Now, I bought a ghost pepper ketchup the other day.
Ooh.
That thing kicked me. I mean, it got me. Now, if they had like Carolina Reaper one, that would not be good. Okay, now this, I have to tell you, you want a tiny, tiny bit.
Right.
When I tried it, it was on the end of a toothpick.
Oh, no. Okay.
So we're going to pour it on the spoon,
Okay.
and you're just going to, so this is called the end. You do have to sign a waiver before you try it. I ran out of waivers.
I was going to say, I was not given a waiver.
Yeah, you're at a friend's house. It's okay.
Is this thumbs up on camera count?
Now, let me tell you this, and after you try it, you're going to be like, he's nuts. My nephew, Coco, he pours this on his hamburgers. Pours it.
Ooh.
But he can't do da bomb. Have you heard of da bomb?
I've heard
hot
of it.
sauce? Okay,
Yeah.
it's just nasty. I mean, it's hot. All right, so I'm gonna control it by putting it on here because you don't want to. All right, we'll probably have to. There's a little bit coming.
Is this hot sauce or magma?
Dude, both. The way my stomach's been today. All right, so see that?
Yeah.
That's what you're mixing in with your chili.
Okay.
All right, let me show the camera this. That's all. Like, it's not. I hope I don't how are you gonna put this on there?
That's a great question because we don't want to contaminate. We don't want to mess up your.
I mean, that's up to you. I mean, now they say they suggest to put this in chili, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't.
Or are you using that spoon to put?
I don't
in yours
care.
too?
I mean, I'll be fine. So you do what you want to do.
All right.
I'll do mine on my spoon. This ASMR part stinks. All right, so I want to say we get around an even amount. Would you say that's close to what you have?
You might have a little more.
I'm fine. I mean, my stomach's already a mess anyway. All right, so I'm hoping this is hot. Like, I've had this one sitting for a while, but so this is, I believe, 10 million Scoville units.
Oh. Okay.
Cheers.
Let's see if I make it home.
Oh, you got it. I'm gonna have to. Oh. You get it right away. And it. Right? And that was a tiny. I mean, you guys saw. There's more cornbread, Jack. Oh. And the thing is, it's going to start making your tongue swollen.
Oh, it's already swollen.
So we tried this. Me and my buddy Tony. Wow, hiccups. Tony and Vinny. Wow. I mean, it instantly gave hiccups.
The rest of this episode is going to be you hiccuping and me eating cornbread.
I mean, wow. He just never given me hiccups like that. Like, that's insane, right?
It's cooling down faster than I thought it would.
That's what you think.
Oh,
Just
no.
wait. It has several layers to it. And this was a tiny.
Yeah, I don't want
This is where it's getting to my tongue.
And you said that guy pours it on his hamburger?
My nephew.
Something's wrong with your nephew.
I agree. I agree. Okay. So you work at a music store, Island Music, in La Plata, Maryland. Mm-hmm. What type of music store is it? Like, is this a place that all musicians can go to?
Yeah, so we're what you would consider to be a full service music store.
Okay.
So it's everything from DJs to band and orchestra to ukuleles to sound rentals to acoustic guitars, lessons, everything.
Okay.
Everything anyone in any facet. Like, we've had harps. Like, we've had...
You guys have lesson rooms in there?
Uh-huh.
See, to me, from the outside, it didn't look that big.
So, the misconception with that is, as our business has grown, we've
Here,
just
you know
taken
you're
over...
not... Hold on. Grab another one.
I'm actually doing okay. It's kind of more... Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever.
Maybe I'm okay with spicy food after all, you know.
Good that you can take that home with you.
We've kind of like... It used to be like lawyers' offices or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've just kind of like moved within the building as we've grown.
It used to be Benjamin Franklin back in the day. Mm-hmm.
An old department store.
Yeah. So people can go there whether they need to rent instruments,
Yeah.
they want to buy instruments, they want to take lessons. That's kind of like the all-in-one shop, right?
Yeah, whether you're looking for your first instrument or your 100th, we've got something for everybody. Like, we've got guitars from $200 to $20,000.
Wow.
Like, it's all right there.
Okay.
Yeah. And this, like, August into September will be 10 years since I've started working there. So,
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Good for you.
thanks.
Now, do you teach lessons there too?
I know.
Okay.
I manage the store, so, like, I used to teach years ago. There's just no time. I just people ask me all the time, like, do you teach? It's like, I just don't have time. It would be a disservice to whoever would want lessons.
Since you're a manager, do you wear a really short striped tie?
No.
A really tight white dress shirt that just sleeves up there?
No.
You need to change that. You need to work on that.
No, actually, one thing I like is the owner, like, we have shirts that just say manager on them. And so I like it because it's our shirts, because we all like wear like the same polo shirt, but our shirts look like everyone else's, and I like it because we all kind of like, no one's like too above or too high to do anything. Like,
That's awesome.
we'll clean bathrooms, we'll take out trash. Like, it's no one's like too high up in the ranking to say I can't do that, I won't do that. Like,
Okay.
There's nothing I would ever ask my staff to do that I wouldn't do myself.
Well, good.
So
That's a good manager. All right. Well, now we know a little bit more about you. All right, let's talk about the chili. How did you like it before we put the hot sauce in it?
that was really good.
Yeah.
It was like the texture's good. It's not like real, like some chili ends up being more like soup, but this was like a nice hearty.
So Shannon does a ground beef and pork sausage mix
Okay.
with it. But I like the spices she uses. I like that so this had a more of a kick than she normally has.
Is that because of?
No, she tries a little bit different stuff.
Okay.
But hers is my favorite chili. What'd you think of it with the hot sauces? What'd you think of it with the ghost pepper sauce first?
The ghost pepper sauce was cool. I thought there was actual, like, there's a little bit of a flavor profile to it that I liked.
The end did not have that.
The end had no flavor. The end was literally just like, here's sauce, and then
Here's sauce.
yeah.
What'd you think? I mean, is that sauce you would get just to have fun with your friends? Or are you a good friend? See, I'm not.
Probably not. I'm also like, I'm not huge on like, hey, let's have hot sauce. You know, like,
See, I'm
so-
stupid. Yeah. I mean, I'm the one that does that. I mean, so, okay.
no, it was good.
All right.
It was fun.
Do you cook at home?
I do.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
I
Like your go-to?
my go-to is a mean like stir fry type thing.
Okay.
For me, it's like a super quick and easy kind of thing. I like to mess around like the different proteins in it, but it's always just.
You're not a sandwich guy?
I love a good sandwich. If I had to make a sandwich, my go-to sandwich is a Reuben.
You're making Reuben at home?
Yeah,
Wow, look at you.
I love a good Reuben.
I love a good Reuben too, but I'm not making it at home.
Or my second go-to, probably before the Reuben, actually, my first go-to. So back from up in Pennsylvania area, there's a restaurant called Permanis. Or, for those outside of Western Pennsylvania, Primanti Brothers. But everyone up there, we just call it Permanis.
Okay.
And it's literally Italian bread, type of meat. You can pick all kinds of meats, but, usually go-to is just some deli-type style meat. Fries, coleslaw, tomatoes. Oh, cut it in half.
That sounds delicious.
It's so good.
Wow.
And then I have this air fryer at home that I love.
Mm-hmm.
And like any sandwich, you just throw it in there.
Yeah.
Comes out perfectly toasted.
When you have a good air fryer, it changes everything. I realized our air fryer could make beef jerky,
Oh,
but I haven't done it yet.
that's cool.
I use it mainly to reheat food.
Yeah.
And it's incredible.
Oh.
It's like better than a toaster oven.
Reheating pizza in an air fryer?
Oh, yes. Yes. Especially from Slice. Slice House, it's great to do it. Okay. Let's say you had a day.
Okay.
You want something to eat. You want that comfort food. I call this my secret meal because I'm typically ashamed for people to know what I ate. Really, because normally it's the amount of food.
Yeah.
And I've only had one guest on here that kind of matched it. Everybody else really, I felt disturbed for the fact they were getting normal food. Number one, if this is a meal that nobody knows about, right? This is just between Jack and your mouth, right? What fast food place are you going to?
So, I'm a pretty avid fast food fan. There's no like. I used to be on a podcast called the Fat Ass Fast Food Podcast.
Really?
Yeah. And so we
You
would.
never told me.
We would, well, I've only ever hung out with you in church. I'm not trying to walk around. I was like, oh, fat ass. So we would actually rate and review new items that came out at fast food restaurants.
So this was kind of like meats. Wow.
Kind of.
Okay.
The only problem was like a new item would come out, but we couldn't get everyone together to like review it right away. So it'd be like 3 weeks later.
Wow.
And anyone that reviews fast food items had already done it. So then we're just sitting there like,
Okay.
But without a doubt, I can't like I can't say no. My guilt, and this sounds like everyone lets. I go to McDonald's way too much. And
dude, that is my place. That is my place.
But when I go to McDonald's, this is why I have to stop going, because it's never just a simple thing.
Dude, I'm okay. I'm okay with this.
A large sweet tea, 2 McDoubles, a large fry, a 6-piece nugget, and depending on how I'm feeling, I get the apple pies.
Okay, I love it. So, are you doing 1 fry?
Just 1 large fry.
Okay, so I'll do well, anyway, it's not about me. Okay. All right, your McDouble. Are you adding anything, taking anything away?
Nope, just as is.
The nuggets, what sauce?
Barbecue.
Okay, you need to try barbecue and hot mustard together. Dip in the hot mustard or barbecue, doesn't matter which one.
Just put them on the same.
Oh my gosh, it changes the game, because their barbecue sauce is special.
It is.
But it's only special to their nuggets.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I think 2 years ago, McDonald's released this like special menu that was like all their hack items and things like that.
I love those.
And they had this one burger. It was a McDouble that had the chicken nuggets on it.
What?
And everyone's like, it's the super special secret thing. And I was just sitting there like, I've been doing this for years. Right. Like,
it's because of you that they did that.
They didn't make it. They started making it when they did the special menu, but you used to just get a McDouble, order chicken nuggets, put it on the McDouble. Shannon's
been doing this thing where she's getting the she doesn't go there often. I do. She's getting the chicken, the McChicken, and she's putting Big Mac sauce on it. It's delicious. It really is.
I've done that. My barber turned me on to that.
Yeah.
She's like, Jack, it'll change your life.
I feel like women heard about it for some reason more than men did. But the good thing is that we heard about it, so that's important. Anyway, I'm glad you came on here. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
I do have a gift for you. I have a BKB for you. It's in this thing right here. Let's shake it up. So I want you to reach in here, grab one. Don't see what color you're getting, then show the camera. Let's see what BKB you get. Jack is getting a yellow Brian Knows Baby, a BKB.
Hey,
look at that. I wish you could put that on a keychain. Look at that. Your little yellow BKB. You got to hold on to it for dear life.
My little yellow baby.
You need to ask Adam when you see Adam what did he do with his BKB.
That's awesome. Well, I have something for you.
I like this. I get a gift.
I should have prepared.
Well, it's okay. I mean, we're just hanging out in a nice warm shed. Just thinking we're warm.
Of course, I can't get the guitar case open.
Because that's how it works.
It's not the guitar, though. I will say that.
You'll get to it at any point. Okay, he's unzipping the bag now. He's reaching in. I hear noises. Look at that. What is this?
I changed my guitar strings today.
Look at this. We get some guitar strings.
And I was like, oh, you know what?
Perfect. This is perfect.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Well, this will go right up in the man cave. It'll go up on there right with Charlie's $100 bill. The red skin. There's a bunch of stuff up there. So those the gifts. Yeah. So thank you very much.
String Joy acoustic strings.
So when you see them on other videos, Jack, that's from you. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Treasure your BKB. Let's talk about where people can find you and find your music.
So it took a while to make sure everything's the same name everywhere because other people had it. But Jack Allen Music, and you can find it on Instagram, Facebook, and then just go to Spotify, Apple Music, whatever, and just look up Jack Allen Worlds, and it all pops.
I'll throw it on the screen right there. Okay. Is there a graphic that we can throw up there for your single? All right, so it'll appear. Where do you want it to show? Right.
I guess here.
Right there. Yeah. That's where it'll come. Right there.
Above your name.
I can see it now. Yeah. All right, perfect. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Just want to let you guys know that if you notice, there are some changes that have happened. You saw the other podcast talking about Meets to the Roundtable. Meets to the Roundtable is no longer, unfortunately, anymore. Nothing bad. Just busy life. So doing a podcast with 3 people is hard at time with their schedules. So we haven't been able to record in a while. So we've had to say goodbye to that, but I'm happy that I get to do this and have my friends on here. So if you notice that the handle on YouTube is changed to @BrianKnowsMe, M-E. So at Brian Knows Me. Make sure you tell your friends. subscribe and like the channel. As you saw the reminder in the beginning, it was right there. Make sure you tell your friends about it. Also, if you listen to the audio version, we're on your favorite podcast platform. Make sure that you follow on there. That way you're notified of new episodes as well. Let's see, because I always forget my work. Leave a comment on YouTube. I'd love to reply to it as long as you're nice. Check out in the comments a store. You can buy some Brian Knows merch on there. I think that is it. Is that it, Jack?
I think so.
Oh, Jack said on the podcast, give it 5 stars. Because he says high five. Okay, all right. All right. Thank you for coming on here.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it.
This was a lot of fun.
All right. This is Brian Knows Jack.
Brian knows, yeah, Brian knows. Good food, good ideas, that's how it goes.
Okay, yeah. No. Well, I mean, you can if you want. Yeah, you can take a bite of that. No, just take a bite. And yeah, you're good. Now look into the camera and say, I'm Jack and Brian Knows Me.
I'm Jack and Brian Knows Me.
Well, you got through it before I cut you off. Congratulations. Bye, everybody. Say bye, Jack.
Yeah.
One thought on the Brian Knows Show.